Have you ever sat in a doctor's office, listening as they say something like, "Your cholesterol is a little high," and your first reaction is almost always the same? You pause for a moment, and then you think, "But I feel fine." No pain, no weakness, no warning that anything serious is happening inside your body. And that, in many ways, is exactly what makes high cholesterol so deceptive. Because unlike many other health problems, cholesterol doesn't usually announce itself with loud symptoms. It doesn't knock on the door. It works quietly, almost politely, slowly settling into the inner walls of the arteries, layer by layer, year after year. Scientists sometimes compare this process to rust forming inside a pipe. At first, the pipe still works perfectly. Water flows normally, but inside, a thin layer begins to form, then another, and another, until one day the flow is no longer smooth. In the human body, that narrowing can show up as something subtle at first. A moment of pressure in the chest, a brief wave of dizziness, shortness of breath when climbing stairs that never used to feel difficult. And in more serious cases, it may appear suddenly as a heart attack or stroke. According to the American Heart Association, nearly 1 in 3 adults over the age of 50 has elevated cholesterol levels, and many of them don't realize it for years, because cholesterol itself rarely hurts while it's forming. Now, when people hear this, the conversation often turns immediately to medication. And to be clear, medications like statins can be very important, especially for those at higher cardiovascular risk. But something many physicians also emphasize today is this: the human body has a remarkable ability to self-regulate and repair when it is given the right daily support. Not through extreme changes, not through miracle cures, but through consistent, gentle habits repeated over time. Sometimes the shift begins with something surprisingly small. Not a complicated diet, not an expensive supplement. Just a simple choice. Repeated every day, even something as ordinary as the drink you choose in the morning. Because what we drink regularly can influence digestion, liver function, blood sugar balance, and the way the body processes fats in the bloodstream. In today's video, I want to share 7 simple natural drinks that may help support healthier cholesterol levels and protect your arteries over time. These are not miracle remedies, and they're certainly not a replacement for medical care, but each of them works with a biological mechanism that researchers have studied, from improving fat metabolism in the liver to reducing oxidative stress inside blood vessels. The best part? They're simple, affordable, and in many cases, you may already have the ingredients sitting in your kitchen. So let's start with the first one, because sometimes the smallest daily habit is where real change quietly begins. Part 1, celery juice, a simple green habit that supports cholesterol balance. Let's begin with something that might already be sitting quietly in the produce section of your grocery store. Celery. Now, for most of our lives, celery has been treated almost like a background vegetable. It shows up next to chicken wings, in soups, maybe chopped into a salad. Nothing particularly special. But over the past decade, scientists have started looking more closely at what's actually inside those crisp green stalks. And it turns out celery contains several compounds that may quietly support cardiovascular health, especially for adults over 50. One of the most important is something called pectin, a type of soluble fiber. When soluble fiber enters the digestive system, it behaves a little differently than other nutrients. Instead of simply being absorbed, it forms a soft gel-like structure inside the gut. That gel can bind to cholesterol molecules present in the digestive tract. And when cholesterol becomes bound to fiber like this, part of it simply leaves the body instead of being reabsorbed into the bloodstream. Over time, This process can help lower levels of LDL cholesterol, the form often referred to as bad cholesterol. And when LDL begins to decrease, something interesting happens inside the liver. The liver starts pulling more cholesterol out of the bloodstream to produce bile, a digestive fluid used to break down fats. In other words, the body begins using up some of the excess cholesterol that has been circulating. Celery also contains natural antioxidants, including luteolin and apigenin. These compounds have been studied for their ability to calm low-grade inflammation inside the blood vessels. And that detail is more important than many people realize, because cholesterol alone doesn't usually stick to artery walls. It's the combination of cholesterol and inflammation that creates the environment where plaque begins to form. When inflammation is reduced, the inner lining of the arteries, called the endothelium, remains smoother and healthier. That makes it harder for fatty deposits to accumulate. Celery also provides potassium and magnesium, two minerals that support blood pressure balance and help blood vessels relax. And when blood vessels stay flexible, circulation becomes easier on the heart. Now, none of this means celery juice is a miracle cure, but several small nutritional studies have suggested that diets rich in soluble fiber and plant antioxidants can contribute to measurable reductions in LDL cholesterol over time. Not overnight, but gradually, quietly. Much like the problem itself developed. If you'd like to try it, preparing celery juice is surprisingly simple. 3 or 4 fresh celery stalks are usually enough. Wash them well, cut them into smaller pieces, and run them through a juicer. If the flavor feels a little strong at first, and for many people it does, you can soften it by adding half of a green apple or a slice of cucumber. The best time to drink it is often in the morning, when the stomach is still relatively empty, or about 20 minutes before a meal. This allows the fiber and plant compounds to interact more directly with digestion. 1 glass a day is plenty. More isn't necessarily better, and as with any dietary habit, there are a few people who should be cautious. Individuals with very low blood pressure, kidney conditions affecting potassium balance, or those taking certain heart medications should speak with their healthcare provider before making celery juice a daily routine. But for many people, especially those beginning to see mild cholesterol changes in their 50s or 60s, a small green habit like this can become part of a larger shift toward better heart health. Because sometimes protecting the arteries doesn't begin with something dramatic. Sometimes it begins with a quiet choice, made one morning at a time. Part 2. Lotus leaf tea, a gentle way to support fat metabolism. Now let's move to the second drink. This one may be less familiar to some people, but it has been used quietly for centuries in traditional herbal medicine. It comes from the broad, round leaves of the lotus plant. Lotus leaf tea. If you've ever seen a lotus leaf floating on water, you might remember how smooth and clean its surface looks. Water simply rolls off it. In a way, that image reflects why this plant has been valued for metabolic health. Modern research has begun to show that lotus leaves contain natural plant compounds such as flavonoids and alkaloids, substances that may help the body manage fats more efficiently. One of the ways these compounds appear to work is by reducing the absorption of certain fats in the digestive tract. When fat absorption decreases slightly, the liver has less excess lipid circulating through the bloodstream. And that matters because the liver is the central control center for cholesterol and triglyceride balance. If the liver becomes overloaded, something that can happen gradually as we age, it begins producing more triglycerides and cholesterol than the body truly needs. That is one reason fatty liver and high triglycerides often appear together, especially after the age of 50. Some laboratory studies suggest that compounds in lotus leaf may gently encourage the liver to break down stored fats more efficiently, helping reduce the buildup of triglycerides over time. Now, triglycerides are often the quieter cousin of cholesterol. People tend to focus on LDL numbers, but high triglycerides are also a significant risk factor for cardiovascular disease. In fact, according to the American College of Cardiology, elevated triglycerides are strongly associated with metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, and increased plaque formation inside arteries. Lotus leaf tea may also offer another subtle benefit. It appears to have mild calming properties for the nervous system. That might not seem directly related to cholesterol at first, but when you look closer, the connection becomes clearer. Chronic stress can increase the hormone cortisol, and prolonged elevation in cortisol can interfere with both blood sugar regulation and fat metabolism. Over time, this hormonal imbalance can contribute to increased abdominal fat and rising triglyceride levels. So something as simple as a calming herbal tea in the afternoon may indirectly support metabolic balance in more ways than one. Preparing lotus leaf tea is simple. A small amount, usually about 5 to 7 grams of dried lotus leaf, is enough for one serving. Place the leaves into a teapot or cup, pour hot water over them, and allow them to steep for about 15 to 20 minutes. The flavor is mild, slightly earthy, and surprisingly refreshing. Many people find it pleasant to drink after a meal, particularly in the afternoon when digestion is still active. 1 or 2 cups per day is typically sufficient. As always, there are a few situations where caution is wise. Because lotus leaf can have a mild, relaxing effect on blood vessels, individuals with low blood pressure should drink it moderately, and anyone taking blood-thinning medication should speak with their doctor before making herbal teas a regular habit. But for many people, lotus leaf tea represents something valuable, not a dramatic intervention, not a quick fix. Just another small, thoughtful way to support the body's natural ability to regulate fats and maintain healthier circulation. And when these small habits begin to add up, day after day, week after week, the body often responds more positively than we might expect. Now let's continue to the third drink, one that most of us already know well, but may not fully understand. Ginger. Part 3. Warm ginger water, helping the body reset fat metabolism. Now let's talk about the third drink. This one is probably already in your kitchen. Ginger. Most of us think of ginger simply as a spice, something we add to tea when we have a cold, or something that warms the stomach on a chilly morning. But behind that familiar flavor is a surprisingly powerful compound called gingerol. And gingerol has been studied quite extensively for its effects on metabolism and inflammation. One of the most interesting things researchers have found is that ginger may influence how the liver produces triglycerides, the type of fat that often rises alongside cholesterol as we get older. Inside the liver, there are certain enzymes responsible for building triglycerides from excess sugars and fats. Gingerol appears to gently slow down the activity of some of these enzymes. And when that process slows, the liver produces less triglyceride overall. Now, triglycerides are something many people overlook, but doctors pay close attention to them for a reason. According to the American Heart Association, elevated triglycerides are strongly associated with a higher risk of atherosclerosis, the condition where fatty deposits gradually narrow the arteries. High triglycerides are also linked to insulin resistance, which often appears alongside metabolic conditions like prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. This is where ginger becomes particularly interesting, because beyond its effect on fat metabolism, ginger has also been shown to improve insulin sensitivity. When the body responds better to insulin, blood sugar levels remain more stable after meals. And when blood sugar stays stable, the body is less likely to convert excess glucose into fat stored in the bloodstream. In other words, improving insulin sensitivity can indirectly help control triglyceride levels. Ginger also has another property that matters deeply for cardiovascular health. It is anti-inflammatory. Low-grade inflammation inside the arteries is one of the earliest steps in plaque formation. When the inner lining of blood vessels becomes irritated or inflamed, LDL cholesterol is more likely to stick to the artery walls and begin forming deposits. The natural compounds in ginger can help calm this inflammatory environment, allowing blood vessels to remain smoother and more flexible. There is even some evidence suggesting that ginger may support bile production, which helps the body break down dietary fats more efficiently during digestion. All of these effects together, improved insulin response, reduced triglyceride production, and decreased inflammation, create a supportive environment for healthier blood vessels. Now, the preparation is very simple. Take a small piece of fresh ginger, slice 3 to 5 thin pieces, place them into a small pot with about 1 cup of water, and let it simmer gently for about 5 minutes. Afterward, allow it to cool slightly so the temperature is comfortable to drink. Many people enjoy adding a few drops of lemon for flavor, though it's not necessary. Morning is often the best time for ginger water, especially after waking up or after a heavier meal. It helps the digestive system wake up and begin the day. But as with any natural remedy, moderation matters. 1 or 2 cups a day is usually more than enough. Too much ginger can irritate the stomach for some people. Those who have severe stomach ulcers, high fever, or who take blood-thinning medications should speak with a healthcare professional before consuming large amounts of ginger regularly. Still, for many adults over 50, warm ginger water becomes more than just a drink. It becomes a small, daily ritual. A way of telling the body, gently and consistently, we're going to take care of you. And sometimes that quiet consistency is exactly what the body's been waiting for. Now let's continue to the 4th drink, one that carries its benefits in a bright, familiar red color. Tomatoes. Part 4, tomato juice, protecting the arteries from within. Now let's move to the 4th drink. This one is something most of us have seen on our tables for decades. Tomatoes. They appear in salads, soups, sauces, sometimes sliced quietly beside a sandwich. Simple, familiar, almost ordinary. But hidden inside that deep red color is one of the most studied antioxidants in cardiovascular nutrition. It's called lycopene. And lycopene plays a very interesting role in the story of cholesterol and artery health. To understand why, we need to talk briefly about what actually makes cholesterol dangerous. Because cholesterol itself is not always the villain. Your body needs cholesterol to build hormones, vitamin D, and cell membranes. The real problem begins when LDL cholesterol becomes oxidized. When LDL particles are exposed to oxidative stress inside the bloodstream, they change form. Once oxidized, LDL becomes far more likely to stick to the inner walls of arteries and begin forming plaque. That plaque slowly narrows blood vessels and can eventually lead to heart attacks or strokes. This is where lycopene becomes valuable. Lycopene is a powerful antioxidant that helps neutralize free radicals, the unstable molecules responsible for oxidative damage. By reducing oxidative stress, lycopene helps prevent LDL from entering that dangerous oxidized state. In simpler terms, it helps keep cholesterol from becoming the kind that sticks. Several nutritional studies have observed that individuals who regularly consume foods rich in lycopene tend to show lower levels of LDL oxidation and improved vascular function. Some research has even suggested modest reductions in total cholesterol after consistent consumption of tomato-based foods for several weeks. But tomatoes offer more than just lycopene. They also contain potassium, a mineral known for helping regulate blood pressure. Healthy potassium levels help relax the walls of blood vessels, allowing blood to flow more smoothly. Tomatoes also provide vitamin C and B vitamins, which support the metabolism of a compound called homocysteine. When homocysteine levels rise too high, it can irritate the lining of arteries and increase the risk of vascular damage. So when tomatoes support homocysteine metabolism, they are indirectly helping protect that delicate inner layer of the blood vessels. And when that inner lining stays healthy and smooth, cholesterol has a much harder time attaching itself. Now here's an interesting detail many people don't know. Lycopene is fat-soluble, which means the body absorbs it more effectively when it is consumed alongside a small amount of healthy fat. That's why a tiny drizzle of olive oil can actually increase the body's ability to use lycopene. Preparing tomato juice at home is very simple. 2 or 3 ripe tomatoes are usually enough. Wash them well, blend them or juice them, and if you like, add a few drops of olive oil. That small addition can significantly improve lycopene absorption. The best time to drink tomato juice is after a meal, rather than on an empty stomach. This helps prevent stomach irritation for those who are sensitive to acidic foods. Of course, tomato juice is not a miracle solution, but when consumed regularly as part of a balanced lifestyle, it becomes another quiet way of supporting the arteries and reducing oxidative stress. And over time, these small protective habits begin to matter. Because heart health rarely depends on one dramatic change. More often, it's shaped by small, steady choices repeated over many years. Now let's continue to the 5th drink, one that has been valued since ancient times for its remarkable antioxidant power: pomegranate. Part 5, pomegranate juice, nourishing the arteries and supporting circulation. Now let's move to the 5th drink. This one has a history that stretches back thousands of years: the pomegranate. In many ancient cultures, the pomegranate symbolized vitality, longevity, and renewal. And interestingly, modern science has begun to confirm that there may be some truth behind that symbolism, because inside those small ruby-red seeds are powerful compounds that interact directly with the health of our blood vessels. Pomegranates are particularly rich in polyphenols, including a group of antioxidants known as punicolagens. These antioxidants are extremely effective at reducing oxidative stress, the same process we discussed earlier that can turn normal LDL cholesterol into its more dangerous oxidized form. When oxidative stress is reduced, cholesterol is less likely to damage the inner lining of arteries. But the story doesn't stop there. One of the most fascinating benefits of pomegranate juice is its ability to support the production of something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a tiny signaling molecule produced by the cells lining our blood vessels. And despite its small size, it plays a huge role in cardiovascular health. Nitric oxide tells blood vessels to relax and widen. When arteries widen, blood flows more easily. Pressure on the vessel walls decreases, and the heart doesn't have to work as hard to circulate blood through the body. For individuals over the age of 50, this becomes particularly important. As we age, the elasticity of our arteries naturally declines. Blood vessels become slightly stiffer, and circulation becomes less efficient. Supporting nitric oxide production helps counteract some of this natural stiffening process. Several clinical studies have suggested that regular consumption of pomegranate juice may improve endothelial function, the health of the delicate inner lining of the arteries. In some cases, researchers have even observed slower progression of arterial plaque in individuals who consumed pomegranate juice consistently over time. Now, pomegranates also appear to influence cholesterol metabolism in another way. Some compounds in the fruit may help the liver reduce the production of endogenous cholesterol, the cholesterol the body produces internally. This is important because the majority of cholesterol in our bloodstream is actually produced by the liver rather than coming directly from food. Pomegranate may also help stabilize blood sugar levels, which indirectly supports healthier lipid metabolism. Because when blood sugar remains stable, the body produces fewer triglycerides. That's why this fruit can be especially helpful for individuals who are dealing with both elevated cholesterol and early insulin resistance, which often appear together after midlife. Preparing pomegranate juice at home is quite simple. Choose one ripe pomegranate, remove the seeds, and blend or juice them gently. You can drink it as it is or dilute it slightly with water if the flavor feels too concentrated. A small glass, about 1/2 to 1 cup, is usually enough. Many people enjoy drinking it after breakfast or in the afternoon when the body is actively digesting and metabolizing nutrients. Of course, because pomegranate juice can have mild effects on blood pressure and certain enzymes in the liver, individuals taking blood pressure medications or blood thinners should check with their physician before drinking it regularly. But for many adults looking to support heart health naturally, pomegranate juice offers something quite valuable. Not a dramatic intervention, just another small daily step toward protecting the arteries and supporting healthy circulation. And as we continue exploring these simple drinks, you may start to notice something important. Each one works through a slightly different pathway. Some reduce inflammation, some improve fat metabolism, some protect the arteries from oxidative stress, but together they all support the same quiet goal: helping the body keep blood flowing freely for many years to come. Now let's move to the sixth drink, one that millions of people already enjoy every day. Green tea. Part 6, green tea, a quiet ally for cholesterol and metabolism. Now let's move to the sixth drink. This one is probably already part of many people's daily routine. Green tea. For thousands of years, green tea has been consumed across Asia, not just as a beverage, but as a daily ritual associated with clarity, calmness, and long life. And over the past several decades, modern science has taken a very close look at what might explain those long-standing traditions. What researchers discovered is that green tea contains a remarkable group of plant compounds called catechins. The most powerful among them is known as EGCG, short for epigallocatechin galati. Now that may sound like a complicated scientific term, but what matters is what this compound actually does inside the body. One of EGCG's most important roles is helping reduce the oxidation of LDL cholesterol. As we discussed earlier, cholesterol itself is not always harmful. The problem begins when LDL particles become oxidized. Once oxidized, they become much more likely to attach to the inner lining of arteries and contribute to plaque formation. EGCG acts as a strong antioxidant. It helps neutralize free radicals in the bloodstream before they can damage LDL particles. In other words, it helps prevent cholesterol from becoming the dangerous kind that sticks. But green tea may support heart health in another important way as well. Some studies suggest that catechins can reduce the absorption of dietary fats in the digestive tract. When a meal contains fat, a portion of that fat normally enters the bloodstream through digestion. Catechins appear to interfere slightly with this process, meaning that a small percentage of fat simply passes through the body instead of being absorbed. Over time, even small reductions in fat absorption can contribute to improved cholesterol balance. There is also evidence that green tea may help increase metabolic activity, encouraging the body to burn stored fat more efficiently. This effect is usually mild, but it can be particularly helpful for individuals struggling with abdominal weight gain, which is strongly associated with higher cholesterol and triglyceride levels. And perhaps one of the most interesting findings is that green tea may help raise HDL cholesterol, the so-called good cholesterol. HDL acts like a cleanup system for the bloodstream. It collects excess cholesterol from the walls of blood vessels and transports it back to the liver, where it can be processed and removed. So when HDL levels improve, the body becomes more efficient at clearing cholesterol from circulation. Preparing green tea properly makes a difference. Many people pour boiling water directly onto tea leaves, but extremely hot water can actually damage some of the delicate catechins. Instead, it's better to allow boiling water to cool slightly to around 80 degrees Celsius or about 175 degrees Fahrenheit before pouring it over the leaves. Let the tea steep for about 5 minutes. This allows the beneficial compounds to infuse into the water without creating excessive bitterness. 1 or 2 cups per day is usually enough to receive the benefits. More than that isn't necessarily better. Because green tea does contain caffeine, drinking large amounts can sometimes cause jitteriness, a faster heartbeat, or trouble sleeping. For that reason, many people find it best to drink green tea after breakfast or in the early afternoon, rather than late in the evening. Individuals who have iron deficiency should also avoid drinking green tea directly with meals, since tea can reduce iron absorption. But for many adults over 50, replacing sugary drinks or sodas with a simple cup of green tea can quietly shift the direction of cardiovascular health. Not in a dramatic way, not overnight, but gradually. And sometimes, those quiet changes are the ones that matter the most. Now let's move to the final drink in today's list, a surprisingly simple vegetable that helps lighten the workload on the body's metabolism. Part 7. Winter melon juice, lightening the body's metabolic load. Now we come to the 7th and final drink, and in many ways it represents one of the most overlooked principles of heart health. Not adding more stimulation to the body, but reducing the burden placed on it. The drink comes from a vegetable that is surprisingly simple, winter melon. Sometimes called ash gourd, winter melon is made up of more than 95% water, which already tells us something important about how it interacts with the body. It doesn't overload digestion, it doesn't add excess calories. Instead, it supports hydration while gently assisting the body's natural elimination systems. But what makes winter melon interesting for cholesterol balance is not just the water content. It also contains soluble fiber. Just like we discussed earlier with celery, soluble fiber forms a gel-like structure inside the digestive system. That gel can bind to small amounts of cholesterol and dietary fats in the intestine. When that happens, a portion of those fats leaves the body before they can enter the bloodstream. Over time, this process may contribute to modest improvements in cholesterol levels. Winter melon also has a mild diuretic effect. That means it encourages the body to release excess sodium and fluid through urine. Now, this matters more than many people realize. Excess sodium can increase blood pressure and place additional stress on the walls of blood vessels. When the body releases some of that excess fluid, circulation becomes easier and the cardiovascular system experiences less strain. Another interesting property of winter melon is its potential role in supporting fat metabolism in the liver. Some plant compounds in winter melon appear to help reduce the formation of new triglycerides in the liver. This can be particularly beneficial for individuals dealing with fatty liver or abdominal weight gain, which often develops silently during midlife. Unlike some ingredients that stimulate the body aggressively, winter melon works gently. It does not raise heart rate. It does not create a warming effect like ginger. Instead, it simply helps the body maintain balance. And sometimes that gentle support is exactly what the body needs. Preparing winter melon juice is very straightforward. Take about 200 to 300 grams of fresh winter melon, peel off the skin, remove the seeds, and cut the flesh into small pieces. You can run it through a juicer or blend it with a small amount of water and strain the pulp if you prefer a smoother texture. Some people enjoy adding a slice of cucumber or a squeeze of lemon to make the flavor a little brighter. The best time to drink winter melon juice is usually in the morning or mid-morning when the body is naturally processing fluids and digestion is active. It's generally best not to drink it late in the evening since the mild diuretic effect may increase nighttime trips to the bathroom. As always, moderation is important. People with very low blood pressure or certain kidney conditions should consult their healthcare provider before drinking large amounts regularly. But for many individuals looking to support healthier cholesterol levels and lighten the load on their metabolism, winter melon offers something valuable. Not intensity, not stimulation, just quiet support. And sometimes that quiet support is exactly what allows the body to begin restoring balance. Because when we step back and look at all 7 drinks we've discussed today, we begin to notice something important. None of them promise instant results. None of them claim to erase years of habits overnight. But each one works through a different biological pathway, reducing inflammation, supporting liver metabolism, improving circulation, helping the body process fats more efficiently. And when these small habits become part of everyday life, they begin working together, gently guiding the body back toward equilibrium. In the end, protecting our arteries is rarely about one dramatic solution. More often, it's about a series of small, thoughtful choices, repeated quietly, day after day. If you've stayed with me until this point, you may have noticed something about everything we talked about today. None of these drinks are exotic, none of them require expensive supplements, and none of them promise overnight miracles. They are simple things: celery, tea, ginger, tomatoes, pomegranate, green tea, winter melon. Ingredients that have quietly existed in kitchens for generations. And that may be the most important lesson of all, because protecting our health rarely comes from dramatic changes. It almost always comes from small decisions repeated over time. A different drink in the morning, a slightly lighter meal in the evening, a short walk that becomes part of the day. Science continues to remind us of something our grandparents often understood instinctively. The body has an extraordinary ability to adapt, repair, and rebalance itself when we support it consistently. We cannot stop time. Aging will always move forward, but we can influence how gracefully the body moves with time. The arteries can remain flexible longer. The heart can work with less strain. Circulation can stay smooth and steady, not because of one miracle solution, but because of the habits we choose to practice every day. If today's video helped you see cholesterol in a new way, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment and share in the comments. How old are you, and which of these drinks would you be most willing to try? Your story might encourage someone else who is just beginning their journey toward better heart health. And if you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with a friend, a sibling, or a parent, because sometimes the smallest piece of knowledge shared at the right moment can protect someone we care about. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me today, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.